Anyway, guys, I got worked. I got 100% worked by WWE. I was all in on this missing egg thing. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And look, when I explain why, please hear me out, all right? So, let's break it down. This whole egg thing, let's break it down from start to finish. It's Survivor Series. It is The Rock's 25th anniversary of his debut. Vince McMahon arrives at Survivor Series in his stretch limo, as he does, with all of the people in a 24/7 open challenge, all cheering him on, clapping, all of that jazz. And he comes out holding an egg, as you can see right here. He holds this golden egg, and everyone's wondering, what the hell is that? Everyone's oohing and awing. And we get to another segment, and Vince says that the egg was a gift from The Rock, and it belonged to Cleopatra. This was Cleopatra's egg, worth $100 million that Vince McMahon was just carrying around in his hands with like virtually no guarded security. That was a gift from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he just has sitting in his office. All right, my immediate thoughts: this is dumb. But this is like brilliant levels of dumb. Like they're gonna do. My thing is, I was like, oh, at this point, they're gonna do something hilarious with this egg. The egg gets stolen. I'm like, oh, yep, they're gonna do something hilarious with the egg. And I'm like, cool. And I mean hilarious in the bad way. I'm like, this is gonna be so bad that I'm gonna laugh my ass off. That's what I was expecting. So the egg goes missing. Vince is pissed. And you know what he says? He says, we're gonna set up a whodunit. Tomorrow night on Raw, you're gonna find out who stole my egg. And he said, they're gonna have Raw superstars, SmackDown superstars, all are gonna be there in the Barclays Center tomorrow night live on USA Network. He set it up, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. We're getting a Raw Super Show. Roman Reigns is gonna be there. Charlotte Flair is gonna be there. It's gonna be a great night. So Monday night arrives, and here I am, thinking there's going to be superstars everywhere. And the whole whodunit, everyone's going to be surrounding the ring. Vince is going to be cutting a promo to open the show. I was thinking Leslie Nielsen from what was it, SummerSlam 1994. That's what I was thinking about this. Instead, we go to a backstage pre-recorded segment where Vince tells Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce that anyone who finds the egg is going to be handsomely rewarded with money or a WWE title match with Big E. And then you cue to all of the 24/7, the 24/7 championship contenders. They're all like tearing up the backstage catering area. I'm like, where do you think the egg's gonna be? Like, someone stole it. It's not gonna be under catering. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever. I'm like, okay, so everyone's just looking dumb at this point. And I'm like, all right, cool, come on. There's still something we can do. There's still a payoff to this, right? There has to be a payoff to this. Because I was thinking, who done it? And then I was like, who better than... Hey, welcome back to the wrestling show where keeping it real goes right. Welcome back to Real Take, Wrestle Talk, live here on YouTube with myself, I'm Q, and of course, the Trevster, the Trevster brother.
What's going on, guys?
Although I'm sure Hulk Hogan would love to use a different word other than brother. Anyway, welcome back to the wrestling show where keeping it real goes right and sometimes wrong. Got a wonderful show planned for you today. We're going to be talking about NXT. Some big news out of NXT because this Sunday, Trevor, is NXT
WarGames.
It's going to be a fun time. William Regal pulling out the WarGames one final time potentially in NXT. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about some recent developments coming up with some NXT contracts, specifically one superstar. Stick around to figure out who that might be. Also going to be talking about some AEW news. Is Adam Cole getting buried? Is Tony Khan burying Adam Cole, Trevor? I'm going to figure that out as well. And for some ungodly reason, GCW is relevant. It
has finally happened.
We went from having absolutely nothing to talk about to having so much to talk about. So join us, have fun, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever one of our episodes is released. Also, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be sure to leave us a 5-star review on some Rob Van Dam shiznit. So much to talk about today. But before we get to that, Trevor, because I've turned this around, what is something in wrestling right now that you're really enjoying?
You know what? As much as I do like, kind of hardcore and indie wrestling, I won't necessarily say I'm enjoying it. I'm actually very intrigued by the things that GCW is doing. That and also I got a chance to watch I'm not sure how recent it was, but I was watching Okada and Buddy Murphy match, which was amazing. That was actually really good match. So that was pretty good. I'm pretty excited about the work Buddy Murphy's doing right now.
But I'll have you know it's Buddy Matthews, sir.
Excuse me.
I'll have you know it's Buddy Matthews, sir.
We love you, wrestling
fans.
fans.
Great match.
It was an amazing match. So yeah, like that happened. There's so much happening in wrestling right now. It's hard to keep track of. By the way, before we get started, did you know this? So, according to Wrestle, which is like my favorite source, guys, if you ever want to find out about, wrestling ticket sales or who's selling out the same arena more, that's a great spot to go find your fix for that kind of stuff. WrestleTix on Twitter, patreon.com/WrestleTix. Go check them out. They do. I don't know who they are, actually. They do a lot of great work. So this is interesting. So WWE Raw, the final count for WWE Raw from the UBS Arena. Remember, we've been following this for a while. AEW and WWE are running the same arena in relatively the same amount of time. It's a new arena, the UBS Arena in Long Island. And we have the final numbers for Raw, the November 29th show. The final number of tickets distributed for that show are 5,887. And out of a set capacity of 6,706, so about just under 1,000, about 900, let's say, people, or 900 tickets went unclaimed, let's say that. For the UBS Arena show on the 8th of December for Dynamite and Rampage, the AEW show, out of 11,641 tickets available, they've already sold out 8,658, which is almost 3,000 more than WWE Raw did around the same time. Again, a brand new arena. It helps the fact that AEW, I'm assuming, has MJF, who is a local to that area. But you also got to remember that people were saying the WWE is the draw. So, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know, like, there's going to be fans who are on either side of it, like, oh my God, WWE is doing so terrible, or AEW is a second-rate company that's getting lucky again, which we all know is not. It's not luck. They're just good sometimes. Something's gonna be good, but I don't know. What do you think about this?
It's interesting. I mean, of course, I agree with you. I believe that you're gonna have your fans out there that are gonna ride one side of the fence or another, and always bury the lesser of the two. But it's interesting. I kind of thought since the territory it would be WWE's, but apparently it's not. And again, it does help to have MJF because he is a draw. I think the final total is gonna be interesting.
I mean, it's gonna be more than Raw. That's what we know.
Of course.
The only thing that's for sure is that nothing's for sure other than the fact that they beat Raw.
They beat Raw. Yeah.
I mean, and it happens. It happens. I mean, AEW is a growing company. They're a hotter brand right now. They're a hotter buy, especially in these bigger markets. That's just how it goes sometimes. So we'll see. Hopefully WWE will bounce back for the betterment of the wrestling business, as Booker T would say, the wrestling business. Hopefully it'll bounce back. Love Booker T, by the way. Big shout out to Book. Anyway, Let's begin, Trevor, by talking about some NXT contracts, more specifically one Johnny Wrestling. Yes, Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano's contract is running out with WWE, so it was actually set to run out on December 3rd, but he signed a little bit of extension, so let's talk about it. Johnny Gargano is sticking around with WWE for... did the Michael Cole thing again. I need to stop that. WWE. Oh my god. It gets worse every week, doesn't it? Anyway, so Johnny Gargano is sticking around with WWE for at least another week. According to Fightful, this is Sean Ross Sapp, and the Wrestling Observer newsletter also confirmed the news on Tuesday by saying that Gargano's deal was originally set to expire on December 3rd, and that a loss in the North American Championship Triple Threat that night would give him the indication of whether or not he had a new deal. He didn't win, but he did manage to get booked in WarGames somehow, so he's going to be at WarGames on Sunday, and that is, of course, after his contract was set to expire, so he signed a week-long extension, so now Johnny Gargano's contract his time with WWE officially expires on December 10th. Trevor, what does this indicate to you? Does this indicate that he'll stay or possibly explore his options elsewhere?
Well, at this point, I think it's all on NXT. At this point, honestly, Gargano has said once before that he loved NXT and wouldn't mind staying. But you also got to understand, and I think most of the wrestling fans do, Gargano is huge in the Indies. Like he was a big draw in the Indies. He's had some great matches with Danhausen, and before he was Danhausen. So he's done a lot of good things in the Indies. So it would be nothing for him to go back to the Indies or go back to the promotion we will no longer name. But if I'm NXT, I'm signing Johnny Gargano. He's one of the draws. Like if he leaves, how AEW talks about the pillars, he's one of the pillars. And if he leaves, I feel like they will definitely feel that. So if I'm NXT, I'm gonna try to talk to him about a contract.
It's interesting because I think it depends on. I think you're right. It depends whether or not he stays. Depends completely on the direction of NXT, because I think Johnny Gargano probably knows what's in store for him on the main roster. He probably knows that what's in store for him isn't exactly a huge push. He probably knows that on the main roster, he might have that, those first few weeks of really good TV time and all that, and then eventually it'll just fade out to maybe him at the maximum feuding with Damian Priest for the U.S. title, and more likely, honestly, being in Ricochet's position, which I would compare those two being at very similar levels as far as sports entertainment is concerned. And I want to differentiate the two because there is a huge difference between what WWE does and what AEW does. That doesn't mean that one is worse or one is bad inherently. They just do different things. For me, the fact that he had to sign an extension means he's definitely weighing the options, which is a smart thing to do. Johnny Wrestling is going to be one of the hottest free agents. I know we say this about a lot of people, but there's a lot of hot free agents out there, and wrestling is as hot as it's ever been. Deal with it. He's going to be one of the top free agents out there right now, and it's really because, Trevor, you want to, I know we get on WWE a lot, right, for bad booking. We get on them a lot for bad booking. Johnny Gargano is someone who can never complain about how he has been booked, on WWE, NXT, whatever TV. It's all WWE TV. So he cannot complain so far about how he's been booked. This dude had the best matches. Tommaso versus Ciampa, rivalry of the century. Of the century. I don't care. Of the past 100 years, I don't care. Best storytelling there's been in wrestling in a very long time. And best matches, some of the best matches in WWE history. Tommaso versus Ciampa, street fight. Tommaso versus Ciampa in Chicago. This dude has been booked immaculately for his entire run. He's been a top guy or at least catching up to that top guy status for his entire run. And, I think that actually gives him more value as a free agent because people know what he can do. People know what Johnny Wrestling means. People know that Johnny Wrestling means you're going to get a great match every single time he goes out there and wrestles. You're going to get some fiery babyface heat, and the crowd's going to be with him the entire way. It doesn't matter if he's heel or face. The crowd's going to be with him because he's Johnny freaking Wrestling. But, yeah, and then that's what I think makes this decision pretty easy as far as exploring his options, because if you're going to be on WWE TV, likely knowing what the result's going to be, look, we don't know. He could end up being a world champion one day. Who knows?
Good.
Stranger things have happened. But what we do know, it's going to be a tougher hill getting to the top for him in WWE main roster than it would be elsewhere. But yeah, that's why I'm more so inclined to say that he's probably going to seek refuge, lack of a better term, elsewhere. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I totally agree with everything you said. Gargano and Ciampa, 1, 2, and 3, all of them amazing matches. Gargano and Ciampa, I said it right. great matches. But it's just one of those things where, like, unfortunately, the way Raw is set up, the way SmackDown's set up, and it shouldn't be this way. But someone Gargano's size, it doesn't really fit in the way they market their wrestlers and the way they market their entertainers. You wouldn't see, especially nowadays, see anybody quite his size, win a championship or win the Universal title or anything like that. I mean, we know what Vince likes. We know the blueprint for Vince's guys: big, buff, beefy guys. Some of them athletic, some of them not. Like, it's just kind of how it is, unfortunately. And if you're lucky enough to get a championship and you are the size of Gargano, size of Ciampa, size of Finn Balor, size of Shawn Michaels, size of Perfect, even though Perfect was probably one of the biggest Intercontinental champions he had, you're typically a Intercontinental champion. And that's kind of how it is. It doesn't make it right, doesn't make it fair, but that's just how it is. And honestly, I think if that's the case, if he's not going to stay on NXT, I honestly think he's going to take his ball and go home. Well, not home, but to another place.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we'll kind of talk about this more so in our NXT WarGames preview. But I think that the reason that Johnny Gargano, no matter what, even if he re-signs with WWE, no matter what, he doesn't have a future in NXT. I don't think he has a future in NXT at all, because NXT's not the NXT that Johnny Gargano led, the NXT that Johnny Gargano had these great matches in, these great feuds in. It's gone. It's gone. It is not the same NXT at all. And I think people need to realize that. There are a lot of people who are still defending, like, oh, it's still going to have the edge, and it's still going to have, like, no, it's a different product. Some people like it. Mazel tov to them. I think there are elements of it that are actually pretty decent and good. And I think we're kind of seeing, like, this the struggle, I guess, between the old NXT and the real NXT and then current NXT kind of playing out in WarGames, which again we'll talk about. But I mean, he knows that the only way for him to go is onto the main roster, and the only thing that he has to really decide is, am I going to be booked as well as I should be, or in a way that I find advantageous, or am I going to be paid enough to kind of deal with that? Or, because who knows, sometimes for people, he just had a kid. Sometimes for people, it is about the money. And that's totally fine. You are getting paid to wrestle, you're getting paid to entertain, and people are fine with it. I 100% get that. You got to take care of your family first. I think, though, he could find comparable offers elsewhere. I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say that, oh, well, AEW can't take everyone. AEW could always use Johnny Wrestling.
I think any promotion could use Johnny Wrestling.
Impact, I don't know how much they'd be able to pay him. That's why I'm also talking about there needs to be another wrestling company. Right. There just needs to be, because
I think MLW would be a good spot for him.
I don't know if they wouldn't pay him comparable to what WWE would pay him, though.
Probably not. I mean, they do have Davey Richards, and Davey Richards is taking a pay cut, but
yeah, and from all indications, it seems like Johnny Gargano is someone that WWE wants to keep. It's not like a situation where where he's kind of forced to leave. they want him to resign. He's just kind of mulling his offers, and I think that's what he's gonna end up doing, which he's entitled to. He's an independent contractor. He can, just like WWE can fire anyone. He can say, "Give me." I'm gonna think on it. Vince.
I mean, because it makes sense. I mean, just think about like some of the matches, especially like he could actually do if he went to other places. Like, I mean, we throw this name a lot, but Gargano. I mean, and Will Ospreay. Like, I mean, like
Gargano Bryan.
Gargano Brown and Tony Aldis.
Gargano Bandito, Gargano Nick Cage, because that can apparently happen now.
Apparently it can. But yeah, I totally agree with you. And like, it's not the same NXT, and the fact that like Tommaso Ciampa's championship reign is a bit stale. It's like is very a big play in that. You can tell. You know what I mean?
Johnny Gargano is probably the best babyface that WWE had for a solid like decade. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like the only one that I can think that's comparable in that role, I guess, of being that underdog babyface is like Daniel Bryan back in 2014, and that was like unintentional. They didn't even want that to happen. So it's great. Look, if he stays, great. If he goes elsewhere, the only downside, honestly, for me, is that he's not going to keep the music.
Yeah.
Like, my God, like there is. WWE, they don't get a lot of things right, but they get music right sometimes. Like Roman Reigns' music is perfect. Johnny Gargano's old music, his babyface music. Another day, gonna give him hell.
I love his music.
That is like, oh my! I'm like, I listen to that when I'm like walking to places. Sometimes I'll be like on my way to Starbucks. I'll be like blasting Rebel Heart.
I like this song. I also like Cody Rhodes' song.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's better than his heel. I love his his Hollywood Cody Rhodes song right now. It's a remix of his babyface song. It's just great. Yep. Anything else on Gargano?
I think we've said enough.
All right, and I think you are right, and I also think that anyone who's watching or listening right now should go to youtube.com/Real Take Sports and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so they get notified whenever a new video is released. Trevor, let's talk about your favorite person in the world. You talking about how Vince loves big, meaty, sweaty, beefy men. Let's talk about Barack, not Obama, Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is going to be returning to WWE TV on Friday, live SmackDown in LA. His suspension, kayfabe, has been lifted. He apparently had to, in kayfabe, he had to pay $1 million fine.
$1 million.
Sorry?
What happened? I said, $1 million. I'm sorry, what happened?
Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
I was like, did I say something wrong? No.
I don't know. I thought you were going to say something else. So that's why I stopped. Anyway, Trevor, Brock Lesnar is going to be returning live this week, Friday Night SmackDown from LA. Suspension's been lifted. He's paid his $1 million fine, kayfabe, and he is ready to go face-to-face with the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is pissed. Paul Heyman looks like he's about to have an aneurysm. God help the Usos. They're about to get mauled. What do you think about this? Because Brock's coming back into the fold, right? And it seems like it's leading to a match, possibly not at day one, but at Royal Rumble. Maybe more long-term than that. Who knows? But, it feels different, though. That's what I'm trying to get at here. It feels different whenever it's Brock versus Roman as opposed to Roman versus insert person's name here. Why do you think that is?
Well, so out of all of Roman's feuds, right, I think this one is probably one of the most prolific, right? So it's one of those situations like when you go back and you look at someone like Stone Cold, right? You mentioned, The Undertaker, Triple H. But when you get to The Rock, you're like, The Rock. Like that was the one, right? That was one of the better feuds. Like it, even when you talk about Ric Flair, it's Ricky Steamboat. Like every good wrestler has had one of those pillars, one of those enemies that you're like, oh, I love this feud. This is always a good feud. I want to see this feud, and I think Brock is his. So that it always has that big fight feel. You know, it always has that feel. You're like, oh man, like what's gonna happen next? Like what's gonna happen? What are you gonna see? I mean, sometimes it's done to death. Like I mean, unfortunately, Kevin Owens and what's his name? I can't think of his name right now.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, why? And you know, but when you have stuff like that, it always has that big fight feel, and I think that's what it is. It feels different to me. It feels, even though I am sick of it, but it's always fun to watch. With them, it's always fun to watch.
Yeah, and you know, I think the real answer also, in addition to everything you said, because they have had a history. I think like you're spot on there as far as, you know, their history kind of makes them kind of like the whole fight forever thing like feel bigger. It's also a fact that Roman Reigns has faced Brock Lesnar twice at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns has never beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. It also helps that Brock Lesnar is arguably the biggest draw in wrestling, and that's just true. They're like,
it is.
As great as CM Punk, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson have been for AEW, as great as Roman Reigns has been in his current role here in WWE, John Cena is probably the only comparable one. Because John Cena, the only people that really move tickets in WWE nowadays are John Cena, Becky Lynch, and Brock Lesnar. Two of those three are part-timers, essentially. Like, John Cena's not even part-timers. I think that's fair to say. But he's just a big draw. He's compelling every time he's involved in something. That's a tribute to how he's been booked. He's probably been one of the more protected wrestlers there has been in a very long time. And I think the history as well plays into that. These two have done battle before. This is the one beast, literally, that Roman Reigns has really not been able to slay on his own, you know, without the help of the Usos, and, you know, not in Saudi Arabia. He's not been able to slay. But you know, I think the other question that people are asking themselves as well is, you know, where does this go next? Is this leading to a match? We already know it is, because he's back. They're building up to a match. Is it going to happen at day one? I wouldn't do that, but they seem like they're building up day one to be a huge event. Royal Rumble could be a possibility as well. They could be building a series of matches that lead to a WrestleMania main event in which Roman Reigns defeats the Beast incarnate, Barack, not Obama, Lesnar. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Which one of those maybe sounds like where they might go next? Which one of those sounds the best to you? Or give me your ideas.
So, I agree with you. Day one, it shouldn't happen day one, in my opinion. It shouldn't. Even though, again, piggybacking on what you said, it's being built to be a pretty big, you know, big spectacle. I personally wouldn't put it day one. Royal Rumble's a good place to start it. Yeah, I think so. Because
Royal Rumble's like in like February now.
Oh yeah, they changed it, huh? Royal Rumble's a good place to start it. I think, like, maybe have Roman drop the belt to Brock, build up a match to WrestleMania, and then have Roman beat him in WrestleMania, getting that monkey off his back, slaying the Beast finally, something he's never done. I mean, it really is a lot you can do with this, but at what point does it get monotonous is the question.
Yeah, I think this is the last time you do this feud. I think this is the last time. Like, you have to get it right. Like, the ending of this, we already know what the ending is. At some point, Roman Reigns, clean in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, no help, is going to beat Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania. That is that's what this has to be. Although, you know, WWE have always made a habit recently, at least, out of not doing what has to be done sometimes.
True.
That being said, I don't know. So the scenario for me that makes the most sense, right? And let me know if you're with me on this. Okay. So at some point, day one, Royal Rumble, whenever, Brock Lesnar beats Roman Reigns with the help of Paul Heyman. All right? And for basically, I don't know, for, I guess, for all for all like sakes, right? Roman's playing the face, and then he goes into WrestleMania, defeats Brock Lesnar 1, 2, 3, becomes that heroic babyface who finally conquers the Beast incarnate. Finally, after literally almost a decade, putting like that loss the Undertaker had at Mania, like finally building it up to be something. In this win over Lesnar. The only thing that from there that I'm kind of having a hard time reconciling and I'm having a hard time coming to terms with is, so after that, is Roman Reigns going to be like this Roman Reigns, which is a perfect character for Reigns to play, the head of the table, the tribal chief, I think. Is he going to be a tweener? Is he going to be the guy? This is my yard now, Roman? And then how is that going to affect a potential match with The Rock? Because what you have with The Rock is just so great. Like this whole dynamic of the family, like who is really the head of the table, and my thing is, you could 100% do a babyface versus babyface main event of WrestleMania with Rock and Roman. Doesn't even need the belt, and it'll work.
Right.
It would be so much more compelling. I don't know. Maybe this is just me thinking about it. It would be so much more compelling if Roman was kind of playing still the heel character, because I don't know. I just think he'd look like such a badass. He'd just look like the ultimate badass beating The Rock as a heel. I don't. Maybe that's just me.
I agree with you though. Like, I mean, you could make him a tweener. You could. Like, you really could do a tweener scenario with him. I think he has. I think he has paid his dues enough to be able to have enough chops to be able to do that tweener character. Because the tweener character to me is always harder than just being a face or a heel, because you're essentially both, and you have to like figure out where that fine line is that shows your character is both. So to me, I think the tweeners are the harder characters than just one or the other. So I think he has finally got to that situation where he can be a tweener. But do you take? I mean, he's such a phenomenal heel. Like, do you take him from that, or what exactly do you do? It's just one of those things that we won't know what direction they're going. But it's a good question though.
It's like one of the few things in WWE that I'm just constantly excited for. It's just Roman Reigns. What is he going to do this week? What is he going to do this week?
Because I'm surprised, but he is such a great heel.
You see, I'm not even surprised about it. I don't know. Maybe no one was listening to me, obviously, of my wrestling opinions in 2014, right? But 2014, when the Shield split off, right? I like the fact that Roman kind of did his own thing, but I was also like, okay, when are they just going to turn him heel, have him be a badass and beat everyone?
I was saying that too.
I was just like that. He should just be a big badass. He like literally what they're doing with Roman now is like what I think a lot of people kind of wanted in 2014, 15, 16 when they were trying to push him as a white meat, shake your hand, fucking like towel. Rag waving John Cena babyface. Time to go to work. Like, no, it's lunch pail babyface Roman Reigns. That's not gonna work. Like, no, you gotta have Hollywood Reigns. You gotta have badass Samoan head of the table Reigns. Instead, we got I can and I will. That is not a good catchphrase, by the way. Like, come on.
You won't.
Can and I won't win at WrestleMania. Although he did last year. 37, he did. He won the main event of WrestleMania. And just like the way he should have. Defeating 2 Hall of Famers, 2 all-time greats, like a badass.
Yep.
8 years too late. Although it wasn't too late, apparently. But yeah, no. Tweener Reigns, I'm looking forward to it, and it's better than Wiener Rollins. Like,
I know my name is Seth.
I already knew it was coming. Knowing it's coming is just as bad as not knowing it's coming.
My name is Seth Rollins, and I...
Although, jokes I can't make right now. Anyway, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Cincy is in the chat. He says he's late. Big round of applause to our latest mod, our newest mod, our first mod. Actually, no, not our first. Johnny's a mod, but Johnny's also in law school. Our first official non-Real Take affiliated mod, Cincy Edits. Congratulations, Cincy. That's okay. This is the last congratulations on your congratulatory tool. Now get to work. Even though there's no one in chat right now. Anyway,
he works for you now.
No one works for me. Everyone is doing this for free. Because I'm not getting until I get paid. No one gets paid. Where was I? Oh, right here. Anyway, so Trevor, I told you this was gonna be fun. So Mr. Rollins, by the way, got attacked. Okay, from now on, Seth Rollins is just that noise. Bro. Okay, Seth Rollins. This show is we are way behind schedule. We got to pick things. I got to pick things up. Me.
Yes,
anyway,
yes,
drink of water, like, share, subscribe.
Oh man.
Anyway, so obviously last week on Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins was attacked by a fan, and Trevor, that fan has actually responded in what can only be described as an unhinged rant and or a promo. Either way, it comes across as very concerning. So let's play the audio of that right now. This is the fan who attacked Seth Rollins last week live on Monday Night Raw at Barclays Center.
Good morning, guys. I'm out. That was me on WWE. I was booked from Goldberg and Vince McMahon, and I jumped over the barricade. I told Vince McMahon I had personal beef with Kobe Lopez. Vince McMahon did not tell Kobe I was going to be there. And the personal beef is between me and Kobe, and he knows what he done. So related to the tribal chief, as the tribal chief's cousin, Royal452, on Instagram, I did what I had to do. I made my family proud, because we are the ones. And WWE officials, I appreciate you for taking me off Kobe Lopez, because you know what was about to happen. I did it for Rikishi. I did it for The Rock. I did it for all my tribal family. And I appreciate this message. World.
Okay. So as I know, the first reaction to that, obviously from us, is the Rikishi and Rock line to laugh.
Thank you. I'm glad that you.
I feel like that's totally justified. Because it's just look. This is Trevor. I think I speak for both of us. This is ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I can only hope that this is like just an overzealous fan who just is cutting a promo. I can only, best case scenario, this dude is an idiot, like just a impulsive person who doesn't make good decisions. Worst case scenario, and that's the reason I kind of don't want to make fun of it too much. This person has like serious mental health issues that probably need to be addressed. Yeah. Or it could be both, combination of both. That's also possible. But it just, the reason I want to play that, it's kind of like a look inside. And again, this is like allegedly the person also. I want to make that clear. I haven't confirmed it, but apparently a lot of people have said like this is the guy. But this man, like this is just, what do you make of this, Trevor?
While you were sitting there talking about it, I kind of, same thing. Like, I think it's someone who's kind of unhinged. I think it's someone who could have possible mental issues. Could be someone who it feels like, in some shape, form, or fashion, that Kobe Lopez has.
Kobe Lopez, by the way, for those who don't know, is the real name of Seth Rollins. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Tyler Black, whoever you want to call him, but yeah, that's his real name. But he feels that he has wronged him in some way. I've heard different reports. None of them actually have been, fact made to actually be facts. But it's that.
I think it's a fact that dude is definitely not part of the bloodline.
I think that is definitely a fact.
I think it's definitely a fact
he's not signed by anybody.
I think it's the fact that Goldberg did not book him to attack Kobe Lopez.
I don't even think Goldberg's a booker.
He's definitely not. I mean, although you could make the argument that Goldberg did book himself to win against Saudi Arabia against the Fiend. You remember his justification for that? You remember how Goldberg convinced Vince to let him win at against the Fiend?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I'm a superhero, and the kids need to see me beat the villain. And that's how the Fiend died.
That's how a career went to heaven. It was terrible. But no, this kid definitely, and I say kid, I don't know.
24 years old.
Yeah, I figured that. I don't think he really knows any better. I honestly think there might be something wrong with him. Unfortunately, and I just everybody be safe. Everyone in the wrestling industry be safe, and watch yourself, take care of it, and take care of your families and friends. If you notice anything wrong, like talk to them, report it, do something. Because honestly, there's something wrong with this kid, and his family needs to step in. Yeah,
and look, I mean, again, this could that's why I want to be clear. This could be mental health issues. It also just could be stupidity. A very, very desperate clout chaser.
Mm-hmm.
Combination of both are also very realistic. Don't know, but man, it's just if you're ever in that position where you think you want to jump the railing at any show,
go home.
Don't think about it for 1 second about what's gonna happen. Don't do it, and just don't do it. It is not a wise thing. It's beyond not a wise thing to do. You're going to get arrested. You're going to have a record for it. You're not going to get over. You're going to get booed out of the building. No one's going to care about you. There's also a reason I didn't show his face or anything like that because I didn't want to give him that level of attention. I just played the audio. No one's going to care about you. The dumbass who attacked and assaulted Bret Hart is hated universally by wrestling fans all over the world because he's just that, a dumbass who attacked an older man who had a stroke just a few years before, who is not in the who has not the ability to take any bumps at all. He tackled him in the middle of his Hall of Fame speech. Lowest of low. If you ever do that at a wrestling event, at any show, you are the lowest you are the lowest denominator of fan, lowest hanging fruit of fan, and you honestly can kick rocks and go.
Exactly, dog. It's ridiculous. It's just one of those things. And to me, the biggest delusion about it is the fact that you honestly believe you could have beat Seth Rollins.
I can't. Get you, yeah.
I didn't I got tackled. My name is Seth Rollins. My name is Kobe Lopez.
I don't know. Are you okay? You good, bro?
I'm reading something that I gotta let me fact check this before I even say anything. But yeah.
In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We got some chats in here from Cincy Edit says Roman Reigns the Smasher, which is exactly what he is. He's Smash. Cincy Edit also says breaking. WWE signed Seth Rollins as attacker to a new bloodline member. That is not news. That is fake news. In fact, that did not happen. Not at all. Were you able to confirm that bit of news?
Yeah. It fact checked it. Apparently, Big Swole will not renew her contract.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up later. We'll fit that in later in the show in the AEW part of the show.
Yeah, I was just making fact checking it. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's true. Big Swole will not be. She and AEW will be parting ways at the end of her contract. I believe it's up in.
It's May. Coming up. Yeah.
I think a lot of contract like Joey Janela, Sonny. We'll talk about them in a little bit.
Yeah.
Really quickly though, this is a bit of good news, Trevor. Karrion Kross is going to be the lead in an action movie coming up.
Interesting.
Who would have thought of that? So, Killer Kross, formerly known in WWE as Karrion Kross, is set to become the latest wrestler to cross over into acting after having reportedly landed the lead role in an upcoming action movie. It's apparently is set to begin production in 2022. No other details on the movie project have really been confirmed yet. But he is going to have the starring role in an action movie that has a little bit of buzz about it. And he's also someone who in wrestling has a lot of buzz about him. People are talking about him, especially after his release from WWE. How do you think he'll venture in the world of acting? And should WWE regret releasing him?
You know what? I don't know. There are very few wrestlers that have been successful in acting. And I mean, that's just true. The Rock is one of the bigger ones. Hulk Hogan had a career. I don't know how successful it was, but he had one.
Have you know, Mr. Nanny was an amazing film, an Oscar award-winning film.
Suburban Commando, yes, you're right. But no, I mean, Triple H has done acting. Shawn Michaels has done acting. Actually, more recently, Shawn Michaels did a movie. It's pretty good, actually. It's wrestlers have done it, and some have been successful. I don't know about Karrion. I think he has. I think he could do pretty good, depending on what it is. It'd be interesting to watch. I think WWE should regret releasing him not because of his acting, but because he's an amazing athlete. And he's done good work in his time here and even in his time in the Indies. I also believe he's one of those wrestlers that was pushed too early. But when you have someone with tremendous credentials like Karrion Kross, I guess that's what they do. But with all that being said, I'm excited to see it. I don't know what the movie is called or what it's about.
No one knows.
It'd be interesting to see.
I think it's gonna be interesting. Gonna be interesting to see. I think you stole the words right out of my mouth.
Right.
Look, we don't know how he's gonna be in a film, but what we do know is he's a big guy who has shown that he does have a charisma about him. He does have a charisma about him. That is interesting. He's from wrestling, which it in a lot of ways is acting. So I mean, He has a little bit of a background for it already in WWE, the way they write the scripts and everything. It's a weekly TV show. So I think I'm interested to see how he does. I think he'll fare well, actually. He looks like someone who could cross over and could be he looks like a reliable action movie type of guy. Is he lead role? Is he the next Jean-Claude Van Damme or the next Steven Seagal or anything like that? I don't know. Potentially could be. But it's interesting. It's totally interesting. I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited to see this. I want him whenever he returns to wrestling after his movie's out. He should 100% be Hollywood Cross. I'm talking about Hollywood girl. Have the shades on, Scarlett Bordeaux. Excuse me. He should basically be just a tougher, bigger, more violent, believable. He should be a better version of the Miz. Although people are now saying that MJF is a better version of the Miz, which you don't hear me.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about MJF later. We'll talk about a lot of things later. But in the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Trevor, we have reached the end of our WWE talk.
AEW time?
No, sir, NXT time. You thought it was over. No, buddy, it's not over because this Sunday NXT will be presenting
WarGames
live from the Capitol Wrestling Center. I think from the Capitol Wrestling Center, but WarGames, NXT WarGames will be happening on Sunday, December 5th. Got a loaded card here to talk about. Cameron Grimes versus Duke Hudson in a hair versus hair match. Also got Imperium taking on Legado del Fantasma for the NXT Tag Team titles. Roderick Strong defending his NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Joe Gacy. And then we got the two War Games matches because, of course, you need 2 of everything if you're in WWE. You got Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, Cora Jade, and Kaylee Ray versus Dakota Kai and the members of Toxic Attraction. That is Mandy Rose's new group there. There's, I think, JC Jane, and I forgot the name of the other person. Gigi Dolan. Gigi Dolan. There we go. So they're going to be in that War Games match. That's been built up actually pretty nice. Actually, both these War Games matches, I think, have been built up pretty nice. And
yeah, I think so.
Finally, we have the War Games match to end all NXT War Games. The battle for NXT. It is the old NXT versus the new NXT. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight versus Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, and Tony D'Angelo. Stacked card.
It's not a bad match, actually.
Stacked card. We'll go through these matches individually, but Trevor, War Games. What do you have to say?
I mean, I've always loved the War Games. I never thought they did them correctly, but I always liked the way they did it. So I'm actually excited. And looking at this card, it's pretty loaded. It's better than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Yeah. I think this is like even in the new NXT. I mean, these are still really good matches. I mean, the one of the week. I'm not a huge fan of Joe Gacy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he's fine in the ring. I'm not a huge fan. He's fine. He's good enough. I'm interested to see how Toxic Attraction do. We know what Mandy Rose can do, but Gigi, I'm interested to see what she can really do in there. I'm excited to see Io Shirai finally get some more TV time. Cora Jade, I like a lot. Kaylee Ray, what more can you say? But yeah, the main event, the old NXT versus new NXT is by far the most compelling thing on this card.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just get into the card real quick. So we got Cameron Grimes taking on Duke Hudson in a hair versus hair match. His name is Cameron Grimes, and he's not getting his hair cut today. What do you got to say?
I'm gonna tell you what. I've always thought Cameron Grimes didn't get the attention he deserved. I've always liked Cameron Grimes. I've always been a fan. Even when he started doing the money woo gimmick, I always loved that. Thought it was hilarious. I kind of feel the same way about Joe Gacy that you feel about Duke Hudson that you kind of feel about Joe Gacy. Not taking anything away from his talent. It just doesn't wow me. But I'm picking Cameron in this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the guy who WWE is gonna want to win this match, and that is Duke Hudson.
Yeah, you're right.
He won the breakout tournament. He's been booked very solid. I'm pretty sure, isn't he the one who took out Kyle O'Reilly? He's like the reason Kyle O'Reilly isn't in this NXT War Games match, which I think is not great. Like, LA Knight, love him to death, but that's Kyle O'Reilly's spot, if we're being honest.
Yeah, LA Knight hasn't been there long enough.
But yeah, I mean, I think Duke Hudson's getting a push right now. He's in the middle of a big-time push, possibly the push of his career that could determine whether or not he goes to the main roster. I know Vince likes him. I'm going with Hudson on that one.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Next match, Imperium. That is Fabian. I don't know how to say his last name, but Fabian versus Barthel. What do you got to say, Marcel Barthel?
Imperium wins, I believe. They've held the belts for a little bit now, and what's his name? I forget which one of them was. One of them had an injury not too long ago, which is when they came back, which is why they put the belts on them. No, I believe Imperium wins this one.
Joaquin Wilde is going to walk out with the win and the pinfall victory over Fabo. I'm going with Legado del Fantasma.
I like them though. I do like Legado del Fantasma.
They are just workaholics. I think it's finally their time to retake the NXT tag team titles. I love Joaquin Wilde. I think this dude has a lot of potential. He's in WWE, so I'm not gonna say superstar. Oh, actually, no, they're all superstars. Damn it. But he has immense potential to be great. I think.
Oh, he really does.
In wrestling. I think winning the tag titles here would go a long way for that. Especially we don't really know what Imperium's doing. We don't know what Walter's status is. Maybe they reset that and they all go up to the main roster. That could be a sign potentially. So
Could be.
we'll see what happens with that. Roderick Strong versus Joe Gacy.
Roderick. No, I think he.
Oh, now this guy.
I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. Rest in peace, RH. Love it. But I honestly
still got
believe
2 weeks.
Roderick wins this. And so yeah, Roderick takes it. I believe.
Look,
I mean, what kind of push is Joe Gacy getting right now? I don't really think he's getting a big one.
if Vince McMahon is booking this pay-per-view, Joe Gacy's not winning this match. It's Roderick Strong. I'm picking Roderick Strong. Because Roderick. Anyway, let's go to the first War Games match. Raquel Gonzalez's team versus basically Mandy Rose's team and Dakota Kai. What do you got to say about this one?
This is gonna be a good one too. I honestly believe. Like you said earlier, I'm interested to see what Toxic Attraction does. Haven't seen them in this type of atmosphere. It'd be interesting to see. You've seen Raquel Gonzalez in this. You've seen Dakota Kai in this. Haven't seen Mandy Rose in something quite like this. Io Shirai has been in one of these matches before. It's going to be interesting to see what exactly happens. But my gut says Lee Ray and Dakota Kai and Toxic Attraction, only because I think it's going to be a heel push. But I don't know. I'm gonna go with them.
This whole card is Big Bang of heels winning every match. Basically.
It really is.
And I think it kind of signifies, the old NXT dying. I really do think that is what the theme of this pay-per-view is.
Yeah.
You also got to factor in the fact that Toxic Attraction, they have Mandy Rose, who has the NXT Women's Championships. They have the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, which... Again, I don't know why they exist. They serve a purpose here. I think it would have been better off for them to use all of the women in more compelling storylines throughout all three brands and just have the floating WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I just don't think there's enough of a roster in strictly NXT to warrant that. That being said, they are getting a push. I think Dakota Kai is honestly a little bit of an afterthought. This, as far as her team goes, I think the focus is going to be on Toxic Attraction. They're going to get the victory here. Finally, in our final match, what I am assuming is going to be the main event. I'm not sure, but in the final
WarGames
match coming up this Sunday, I'm not going to get tired of that. It's going to be. Of course, Ciampa, Gargano, Pete Dunne, LA Knight, the old NXT versus the new NXT, Braun Breaker, Kamala Hayes, Grayson Waller, and Tony D'Angelo. Trevor, who you got and why?
So this one's a little more interesting. I'm going the same way, but because I don't really think you would classify Braun Breaker as a heel. But
he's a heel. I'm pretty sure he's like. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a heel now.
Okay.
I don't know if they've kind of explicitly said it. He's basically he's
okay.
He's a heel.
I mean, I know Kamala Hayes and Grayson Waller both, and Tony D'Angelo, but Braun Breaker, I didn't really know exactly. Because to be honest with you, I've been trying to keep up with NXT, but I haven't really as much as I wanted to. But. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry to everyone who watches this show live on Tuesdays, during NXT. Our competition is NXT.
True, and I don't know.
Yet people still show up.
But I'll say Braun Breaker's team definitely. Like you said, I think this is a signification of the old NXT dying, pretty much. So, yeah.
The old NXT dying. You know what I wish they would have done? I agree with you. Braun Breaker, new NXT, Kamala Hayes, Grayson Waller, all those guys win. Tommaso Ciampa goes out. Actually, no, I think Johnny Gargano is probably going to take the pinfall or submission here since he's the one probably on the way out.
What's Pete Dunne's contract? Did he resign?
Oh, he resigned. He resigned. He's
Okay.
Oh, I got that blood money. No, he's taking care of his family. I
There you go.
I have no qualms. Have fun, Pete Dunne. But this would have been so much better. I don't know why. In wrestling, they have this weird thing. Here's the one thing TNA did right. like I just completely off topic.
It's like a handful of things.
The one thing TNA did right was the main event mafia. And by that, I mean having established, veteran, older heels who are former world champions, know their hot shit, and have them be a heel faction that sticks together, that represents the old guard, and then having them compete with younger, talented people in order to get those young, talented people over, eventually beat, the older heels. Like, they try to do that, and they did that a lot of times with success with the original main event mafia, and I liked what they did there. I wish wrestling outside of that would do that, because we're not seeing that down here. We're seeing it the opposite. No. We're seeing the plucky baby face 40-year-old. Like, I mean, they're not, but like the older guard, I want to say, and then the heel young guard. It's the same thing they did with the new breed of ECW versus the ECW originals, and I feel like it would have been better the other way, because you're trying to get these young guys over. You're trying to get them in a position where people like them, the other guys are already over. Like, you don't need to get Johnny Gargano over. You don't need to get Tommaso Ciampa over. You didn't need to get like Sting, Kurt Angle, all those guys over in the main event mafia. I wish they would do something like that when they do these types of storylines, because it seems like every time wrestling does it, again, Millionaires Club versus the New Blood, or I think it was that, the New Blood in WCW did the same thing, and it was backwards, and I was like, I don't need to cheer for Lex Luger and Hulk Hogan. I can boo them. like I want to, give me a reason to cheer Billy Kidman. Give me a reason to cheer Braun Breaker. I that's just my 2 cents. But hey, this Sunday we'll find out what happens at NXT
WarGames
live on Peacock. Might be live on here too. Who knows? Anyway, that was fun.
That was fun. A lot more fun than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. It's always fun when I get to push the Regal button.
WarGames.
I love pushing the Regal button. This is just gonna be a long-standing thing now. From now on, I'm gonna have Regal on standby ready to say WarGames.
WarGames.
It's just the way he says it is perfect. Like, come on.
It is. I mean, his accent and everything is just great.
WarGames at NXT takeover. Oh, that's the sad part too. No more NXT takeovers.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you know that, right? The takeover name is dead. Yeah, R.I.P.
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Let's move on. And talk about, speaking of perfection, by the way. Speaking of perfection, Trevor, did you watch AEW Dynamite last week? Did you watch the first 15 minutes of AEW Dynamite last week?
The first 30 minutes of that promo? Yeah, I saw it. It was awesome. It was amazing.
Trevor the Sauce, Trevor the Barman, whatever you call him, bro. This freaking promo. CM Punk, MJF, they had one of the best exchanges. I thought the Eddie Kingston thing that Punk did 2 weeks ago was great.
Oh, that was great too.
And it was, but my goodness, CM Punk and MJF. This was everything I expected it to be, and somehow even better. Like, the two of the best talkers of all time. MJF possibly the best talker in the business right now. Throwing absolute pew, 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 haymakers, barbs, bullets at each other. CM Punk getting called an ass kisser MJF saying, damn Punk, your breath stinks. Maybe it's because you've been kissing so much ass. CM Punk calling MJF a less famous Miz.
Oh, that was one of the greatest things.
CM Punk saying when he's done with him, MJF's going to be back on the Rosie O'Donnell show dancing, which, by the way, look up the video. It's actually true.
Yeah.
MJF was dancing and singing You Are My Sunshine on Rosie O'Donnell's show when he was 5.
Yes, he was.
The My Jealous Fan line. Trevor, explain this promo to me in your own words.
Oh my God. Like it like you said, it was everything you wanted it to be, but you didn't expect that you didn't really realize that you needed it. You know what I mean? It was everything you needed to be. But like it was just, dude, they were firing from the hip, guns blazing, bazookas going off. Oh my God. It was amazing. Like the whole one of the 4 pillars, your spot was taken by Britt Baker. Oh my God, that was amazing. Absolutely. Pew pew. That was, oh my God. Like, and like MJF, of course, like, let's just be honest. Like MJF is quite possibly one of the best talkers in AEW, and like, if not the business period. Like, and like that was, it was great. It was really, really fun to watch. And I think both stars enjoyed it as well. You can see it on their face. I think they both enjoyed it as well.
He called CM Punk a meth addict.
Yeah, he did.
Like, it is, I was like, yo, MJF is just, he's 25 years old, Trevor.
He can only get better.
25.
He's only going to get better.
And he's having, like, I know people say he doesn't wrestle. When he does wrestle, this dude has never had a bad match.
He's having the career of a year right now. He's having the year of a lifetime right now. He really is. And he's only wrestled like maybe 12 times. But he's really, like, his whole overall demeanor, his punchlines, his promos, like the match when he does wrestle. Like, it's compelling. It's interesting. It's hard hitting. It's hard to watch. Like it's amazing.
Man, this is like, for me, I don't know about you, man. This is like, I don't know if it's the best promo ever. I don't even think that's appropriate. Like, I don't know if it's the best promo battle ever. Like, there have been some good promo battles.
Yeah.
But man, this is, I don't know. It was better than the Kingston one for me. It might be the best in AEW history. Because this is better than the Kingston one. That is nothing against the Kingston CM Punk promo. Not. That was an amazing promo as well. This was like, I was just mesmerized. This was must see TV. There are very few times in wrestling where you look at that and where you watch TV on a weekly basis and you're like, this is can't miss. That's what this. So I was like, this is MJF, CM Punk, one of the greatest talkers of all time. MJF, the best talker in the business right now, better than Paul Heyman. There, I said it. I'm serious. Like, this dude is just perfection on the mic. You know, you hate him, but he's talented, and that's why you hate him.
Hell, dude, and that's the big, and like you said, that's the reason you hate him. He's a smug son of a bitch, but you love to hate him. Like, it's just like he's so comfortable on the mic. It's almost sickening. Like he doesn't really stumble over words. He knows what he's gonna say when he says it. Like you,
and his
believe
reactions, Trevor. His reactions to everything are just 100% spot on. Whether he's roasting or he's getting roasted, his reactions to everything are just the best. Like when Punk hit him with that less famous Miz line, you could see like it was like it hit him. It hit him.
Like, holy shit. He really said that. Like when he made fun of the pipe bomb. Like,
he's like, what was the line? He's like, you throw pipe bombs, I got nukes. I was like,
yeah. I was like, oh my God. Oh. Like, oh my God. Like, that was something like, and when it comes to like good wrestling shows, like every once in a while you'll rewatch a match or whatever. I rewatched the promo. I rewatched the promo and I'm like, I need to watch this. This is what I need to watch. Like, it was so good.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. You know what else is amazing? Just CM Punk in AEW, because the possibilities, Trevor, are endless.
Yes, they
You know
are.
why? Because this week Bryan Danielson got involved in the Punk discourse. Oh, please let it happen. Oh my God, wrestling is just so fun right now.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Trevor, the American Bryan Danielson. That's what we need. The American Bryan Danielson. The American Dragon Bryan Danielson was talking shop on the Casual Conversations podcast, and he got to talking about CM Punk. And
Oh, wow.
he hinted at the possibility of potentially teaming with Punk and having a match with Punk. He said on the podcast, quote, "Yeah, I mean, I think both of those are really exciting to me, the prospects of both teaming and having a match with him." He said, quote, "You also mentioned two teams that I would love to have a serious program with. Who better to team with than Punk? Although, I always thought and said that this was when it was in WWE, blah, blah, blah. It felt like Punk and I were destined to do a WrestleMania match together, and then it never happened," is what he said. He went on to say, "It felt like, man, it's so perfect. It makes so much sense that we would have this WrestleMania match against each other, but it never happened." So he's there planting the seeds, talking about how a lot of people expected like these two to eventually have that big main event level match at Mania, that moment of Punk versus Bryan that WWE, they never seem to be able to capitalize on. And it's weird because, they had a match at Over the Limit, right?
Right.
But it was like this third match on the card or something, and it was for the World Heavyweight title, and it was almost
I
a
think they
throwaway
were
match.
both early in their career, right? Honestly,
No, but Punk was already champion actually by then.
That's
This
right,
was 2012. So I mean,
Okay,
and Bryan was in his heel stuff then. So it just never worked out. Then Punk left and Bryan had his moment and then the injuries. So they're both there now though. What do you think about the prospect of A, Bryan Danielson and CM Punk teaming together, and B, us finally getting that premier matchup, the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus CM Punk?
Dude, like, I think every fanboy just salivated as soon as you said that. Like, dude, that would be amazing to watch. Like, could you imagine? And you know what? Like, they wouldn't have to have them, but you almost kind of want to see them with the belts running, right? You know what I mean? If they were a tag team. Like, because
I mean, you could give them a run with the tag team titles. You could totally give Punk and Bryan.
It's gonna be absolute perfection in the ring if those two are tag team champions or tag team. Period. Like, it'd be amazing. But what I had started thinking about as soon as they announced both of them in the AEW at the same time was the potential of a championship match or potential of a match in general with these two involved, and it's just something like you said, you never really got a chance to see it at the peaks of their career when they were both hot, when they were both really on top. You never got a chance to see it. Now we have that shot because I mean, I don't know about you, but Bryan is not missing a step, and Punk has gotten the ring rust off. I think Punk is still just as good. I mean, he's a little slower now, I think, but I think he's still just as good.
Tony Khan, you've stolen many ideas from me, my friend. Steal another one. Just steal another one for me. Tony Khan, if I were you right now, if I was booking wrestling right now, give it a few months, let them wear out these singles feuds for a second, and then put them as a tag team together, almost a forced tag team together. All right, just do it. Just do it. Put them as a tag team together. Have that moment where they're fending off some heels and they're looking around at each other and the crowd's going wild and they look at each other and everyone knows what's about to happen. CM Punk and Bryan Danielson are about to team up together. Do that, because one, that's freaking amazing and it should happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Two, it's going to take them out of the singles arena and open up a lot of space for other people in that singles avenue, So
Right.
It'll do that. And think about it, bro. CM Punk and Bryan Danielson having a year-long run as a tag team, or 6 months, whatever long you want to do it. And then one day, Punk just gets sick of this little goat Brian Daniels, this alleged dragon, saying that he's the best of all time. He's the best in the world. And then CM Punk attacks Brian. He attacks his neck, puts the Anaconda Vice on him. Brian's out for 3, 4, 5 months. Book the main event of All Out 2023 right now, baby. Make it happen. Brian versus Punk in a blood feud. Not even unsanctioned. Wrestling, whatever. Book this match to happen. It doesn't need the title belt. It is just... If you're gonna steal it, you already stole Rampage. You already stole the booking of Blood and Guts from me, Tony. If you don't steal this idea, Tony, I swear, I am going to reject every check you have ever sent me. I'm going to send all of the money back. Actually, wait, he might like that. I will never send any of the money back. I will catch every single check, Tony.
Oh, that blood money is going back to you.
No, but seriously, like I don't care how you make it happen. Make it happen. Like this is just. Who's the best in the world? Just that's it. Actually, doesn't even need any. Just who's the best in the world?
You don't need anything else. Nothing else.
Like this is like one match that really doesn't mean anything else. Need anything else? Make it. I mean, I know they're gonna probably go like Iron Man 60 minutes or whatever with Omega Bryan. Make this Iron Man. Make this unsanctioned. Whatever you got to. Just make it happen. I need to know who the best in the world is.
And might I add?
And I need to know, and I need others to know that it is in fact Brian Danielson.
I mean, and might I add? I love heel Brian Danielson. By the way, money, absolute money.
Just kicking Colt Cabana's teeth out in Chicago,
dude. That was
and
amazing.
Then showing. Not only did he kick this dude, he will actually kick your head in. But not only did he kick his teeth out, he showed him, I just kicked his head in and kicked his teeth out. I was like, yo, Brian. Yes. And I love the fact that they let them fight him and Hangman Adam Page. Yeah. And they gave it got you ready. You're like, this is gonna happen. Hangman Adam Page. He was this close to hitting that buckshot lariat on Brian Danielson.
Can't wait. It's gonna be a great match.
You know what's not great, dude? People who don't hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so to get notified whenever a new video is released. We'll take Wrestle Talk on Tuesday nights. We'll take Sports Talk on Wednesday nights. Why wouldn't you subscribe? This is great, by the way. Hang on.
A great picture.
Anyone listening to this on audio can't see this picture, but if you were watching, you saw it in amazing HD. Let's talk about Adam Cole very quickly. There was some less than favorable discourse. There was some, I'm going to be quite honest with you. There was a lot of talk this week amongst wrestling fans, especially on an app that I hate Twitter so much, Trevor. I hate Twitter so much. So there was a lot of talk online from wrestling fans about Adam Cole, and it was not really in the good way. There were a lot of fans, and this caused a huge stir on Twitter, who were complaining about the way that Adam Cole has been booked since arriving in All Elite Wrestling. They said the following things, and these are, paraphrases of actual tweets that I've seen. He's not in high-profile feuds. He's wrestling jobbers every week. The fact that he wrestled on Dark once is apparently a demerit against him. And this is the whopper. He would definitely be doing better in WWE right now. Trevor, I want you to answer the question that the internet is buzzing about. Is AEW burying Adam Cole?
And I can honestly say, without a doubt, that, as always, the internet is absolutely fucking wrong. And I apologize, but they're wrong. I will say this. I believe that maybe some of his matches aren't favorable for him, right? But I did like the tag match with him and Bobby Fish. I did like the work he was doing with the the Click. You know, I
Johnny
like
Hungy, him and Johnny Hungy
Hungry had a hell of a match.
had a hell of a match on Rampage. It was a great match on Rampage.
Dude, he's had good. What about the match with him and Jungle Boy? Another great
Him
match.
and Jungle Boy had a great match.
Like,
Him and
he's had good matches.
No, Trevor, no. If you think, I'm so sorry, he's wrestling jobbers every week. No, he's having amazing
don't
matches.
understand that.
He's opening Dynamite's most week. He's the opening match on Dynamite. He's what they are trying to promote for the future. You idiots,
Exactly.
you marks, you stupid people with dumb, stupid opinions. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I will have you know that you're dead wrong if you believe AEW is burying Adam Cole.
You're absolutely insane if you believe they're burying Adam Cole.
Continue, please.
But no, not to take the words out, because I get why you're frustrated, and I am as well. But like, to sit there and say that he was matched against jobbers. Jungle Boy's a jobber. Jungle Boy's probably had a better push than half of the roster on WWE. Like,
Christian Cage is a jobber. Luchasaurus is a jobber. Johnny
Hungy is a jobber.
No, Trevor, no.
Like, dude, like, I really want to sit down and talk to one of these people that believe that WWE is the end all be all, because honestly, you have your head so far up your rectum that you don't understand anything.
Come on the show. Come on the show. I'm
Please
dead
come on
serious.
the show.
First person who wants to defend this opinion that all these opinions, or one of these opinions, that he's wrestling jobbers, that he would have done better, especially that one. He would have done better in WWE right now.
Because he wasn't before he left.
In NXT, he was fine, but that NXT changed. It's the same reason he probably would have gone to the main roster. And from what and you know what was in store for him on the main roster? Johnny Hungy literally alluded to it throughout their entire build-up to their match. Budge. Bald head, becoming a manager, changing his name. You know why? They wanted to change his name, Trevor. Yep. So people didn't confuse Adam Cole with Michael Cole. No, you're changing Michael Cole's name, buddy.
And this came from the words of execs from WWE.
like these people have the audacity to tell me that Adam Cole being built up to be a premier star, being built up in a feud with the hottest tag team in the world, being built up in a feud between the former Bullet Club members, the Undisputed Era versus the Elite. You're telling me these perennial pay-per-view headlining matches are going to be better than Adam Bo, baby? Got me so messed up. Messed up.
Like, what makes you think that he would get billed differently than Johnny Wrestling would on WWE? Like, they're roughly about the same size. They're gonna treat him the same way they would have treated him, Johnny Wrestling, the same way they're treating Finn Balor, same way they're treating all those guys from NXT. He would be nothing. Like you just said, he'd be a manager with a bowl cut.
Same company that wanted Leo Rush to be a manager.
Exactly.
They thought that was the best and only way to use Leo Rush.
And I guess he's a jobber too, right?
Of course, he's like 5 feet tall, bro.
Marks.
Like you can't. God, my God.
How many world title matches has Adam Cole had lately? None.
How many world title matches did he have in WWE? None. Oh my God, these idiots. Yeah, subscribe to my channel, idiots.
That is just absolutely
I'm not done with this. I'm not done
maddening.
with this.
That's so maddening.
God bless them, but fuck GCW for a second.
Exactly.
They have the okay, and I think there's a reason for this, right? There are people who don't watch AEW from a week-to-week basis,
right?
On purpose. They don't watch because they know if they do watch, what they're going to see is likely going to make more sense and be more better than what they're seeing week to week, and more logical week to week than what they're seeing on Raw. and NXT and SmackDown, just truth. Like here's the thing. The reason that, and I think it's the thing, that's what the core of this Adam Cole thing is. I'm more patient with Adam Cole now than I would be with him in AEW than I would be with him in WWE. That's like by far. And you know why that is? Because AEW, unlike WWE, have earned the right, in my opinion as a fan, in the opinion of most fans, honestly, or most fans who actually watch both products, they've earned the right to be patient because they've proven that they can build logical, long-term storylines and build people up over time. WWE has proven that they can't do that, especially over the past like 2-3 years. It's been so bad.
It has.
And I don't know what it is. Maybe it was always like this, Trevor, and we're just noticing this because it just seemed for whatever reason WWE got so much more illogical since AEW arrived. I think that my theory is that it was just as illogical back in 2016, 2015, all the way back then. It was just as illogical then. We just had nothing to really compare it to. Because what do we have to compare it to? TNA?
Yeah, that's it.
TNA Impact. Dixie Carter holding on to Hulk Hogan, Blake down. Yeah, Hulk, don't go. AJ, don't go. I lost everybody. We had nothing to compare it to, and now we have a viable alternative to compare it to that is better at telling logical storylines, and fans are realizing, well, this is shit. Who would have thought?
Like, and I seriously thought about that recently, Amir. I actually thought about, like, was it that it was the only promotion around? Or was it, and it was just that good? Or was it like just that good, and we just ignored the fact that some of it was trash because there was nothing else to watch. Because like at that time, it was hard to find indie promotion to watch. It's hard to watch in ROH. Like ROH was a very young company. It was hard to watch Chikara, Dragon Gate. It was hard to watch those things, but. I mean, they were around, but unless you went to shows, you really weren't seeing them on TV. So this is what you had to watch. Unless you stayed up late and watched the cast on the internet, this is what you had to watch. So I guess, I mean, not saying that a lot of what WWE was terrible back then, because it wasn't. Like the Attitude Era was good. A lot of it was good.
I don't know. Okay, look. I
just it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but
Trevor,
good.
I'm just saying. But
I get what you mean. I totally get what I understand what you're coming from. And honestly, just thinking about it, it makes sense. Like, what are you comparing it to at this point? Because at that point, WCW was tanking. It was nothing to compare.
That's what I'm saying. No. That's what I'm saying. I'm at 98, like right as WCW, like WCW. Okay, at the point of where I am. Sorry, I'm at 99. Right. At the point where I am in my what is going to be a very long journey to the destruction, absolute termination of WCW. I'm at 99, right? I mean, like mid 99, and I've basically, it's a downhill spiral for me. I mean, like it's going to get even. It's going like right now compared to what I'm about to face in like over the next few episodes of pay-per-views is going to be just. I'm going to pray for the 99 WCW by the time I get to 2000.
You should. It's awful.
But no. But this was still a show, Trevor, that they weren't beating Raw every week, but this show was still doing comparable, even the same ratings in a lot of weeks. And it's not a good show. 99 WCW, it's not really a good show. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, yes, the allure of the NWO eventually wears off and all that. But like, it doesn't last for this long. People don't just stick around for this long. Like I'm just like, man, that must mean like, I don't know.
I mean, because like, it's one of those things, like you said, like if you go back and watch, like we talk about on Raw, right? We talk about the same fucking same matches every other week, right? And if you go back in that time period, you saw something similar to that. Like, especially there was always a Generation X member on TV. There was always like
Triple H book. I love Triple H got booked to just crotch chop.
Like, like it was always Xbox, like jumping up and down. You know, it was always something that you saw pretty much every week, and it just got it got bananas.
Okay, never mind. I think my point is my point is still valid for the part of 99 that I was in.
Okay.
I'm about to literally the week I'm at in my journey of watching WCW. It's a downhill spiral as far as the ratings go. Like WWE the next week is about to. Oh my God, how bad was this Nitro show? WWE is about to double Nitro in ratings for like the next lifetime. Like this. Oh God, that is a 7 to. What did they put on TV? 2000. I'm gonna stop looking at these. They're just giving me anxiety.
I said, it got bad. So yeah, I mean, you have a valid point though. You do.
I'm not even sure if I do anymore, but you know what? I do have a legion of fans who want to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so they get notified.
And we are sorry. We went on a tangent. And we apologize.
I apologize. You know, I want some Conor McGregor shit. I apologize. It's absolutely fucking nobody. No, screw that, bro. Screw apologies.
That was yeah. Wow.
Speaking of caring about absolutely nobody, let's talk about DCW and your boy Nick Gage. Trevor, I have a question as this picture goes up. Oh my God. This was in my photo archives, by the way. This is what I found in my photo archives of DCW. Trevor, Trevor, GCW just sold out the Hammerstein Ballroom, about 2,000 tickets almost immediately, as they went on sale for a show on January 23rd in New York City. Big show that they're calling The World On, I think. Trevor, did you ever think in your wildest dreams that GCW and Nick Gage would be this over?
I mean, dude, like,
did you ever think when watching this maiming of human beings on TV and think this is going to take the place of Ring of Honor? This is going to be the alternative.
Who would have freaking thought that GCW would sell out the Hammerstein Ballroom? Like, dude, I remember watching some of these matches, like these death matches, and they were in school halls, and you had room to move. You know what I mean? And you were trying to move out of the way from flying debris because someone just got hit in the head with a light tube, and it just and tossed it and flew past your freaking head. Like, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. GCW, CCW graduated from what's the name's backyard to this.
God bless DJ Hyde for giving us this crap.
Good Lord, DJ Hyde. I mean, that's crazy. Nick Gage would have never been on a promotion, an actual televised promotion, in 100 years before this year, ever.
We will get to our breakdown of the ticket sales and everything, but I just want Nick Gage drew 1 million viewers
yes!
on TV, on live TV, on a major network.
Dude,
in 2021.
One of the videos we had when we talked about Nick Gage, we got a pretty heavy following.
Yeah, that was wild. But look, they sold out the Hammerstein Ballroom, 2,000 tickets, Trevor. That's not a low number of tickets. That's a lot of tickets. Ring of Honor was doing shows, and they used to do shows in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and I think I don't even think they had about 2,000 tickets like that. So this is going to be a fairly bigger event. And look, you want to talk about the New York market, man? WWE, look, they sold out 14,000 or something around that for SummerSlam, or not, for Survivor Series, right? The next night of Raw, it was very low. It was somewhere around 5,000 to 6,000. I think right in between there.
Right.
And GCW managed to sell in the same market. Granted, this is downtown Manhattan. 2,000 tickets.
That's
very fairly quickly. Like we're still a month and a half. We're 2 months nearly from this pay-per-view happening. Like this is just what the hell's going on?
It's insane. Like it's one of those things where you're like what the hell is going on? like I mean, we're all degenerates, and some people like to see stuff like this, but it's just no, man. It's weird. It's so weird. Like I would have never thought this brand of violence would be this this big. Like it. I have said it many times before. I watch it. I do. It's sick, and sometimes it's hard to watch. And I haven't watched a match in a while, but it's apparently there's 6 sadistic fucks like myself out there that like this. Like in 2000, I just can't. Like the last, I want to say the last ROH show I went to, it wasn't Hammerstein Ballroom. It was in I want to say it was in Delaware, I believe. I want to say they did something close to that, but not 2000. And this is GCW. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just nuts. And that was well established, well rostered ROH. Shit, the one main event was Motor City Machine Guns. Like, and that's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. I looked it up. So, Final Battle, which they usually held in the Hammerstein Ballroom, Ring of Honor had one show in the Hammerstein Ballroom that I can see from here at that Final Battle pay-per-view where they sold. Actually, no. So that wasn't even the same arena. So the most they've done in the Hammerstein Ballroom, according to what I can find right here, is 1,500. They did a bigger show at the Manhattan Center, but that's a different like venue, basically.
Wow.
What is wrong with you people?
Wow.
No. Run that back.
Also, you got to understand the names they have coming in GCW nowadays.
No. Run this back. Show the picture. This? What? Go back. This was 2,000 tickets like that. This?
I mean,
please don't hurt me, Nick Gage. Please don't hurt me.
Him and Moxley had a match and they tore it up. Like
I'm a huge fan. I get it, but my goodness, 2,000. Like this is.
It's baffling. It is baffling. I mean, don't get me wrong. And this isn't something that he's ever known for. But he's not a bad worker in the ring. He really isn't. I mean, he's not known for that. He's known for taking a pizza cutter out and carving his initials in your head.
My goodness.
He is not a bad worker.
I never thought I'd say this. I never thought I'd say this, but Nick Gage makes me feel like Jim Cornette. Nick Gage makes me understand. Nick Gage to me is what Jim Cornette is, or what AEW is to Jim Cornette.
Yeah,
there are parts of it that I like, but I'm just like, well, goddamn, like,
goddamn,
cool it, take it down a notch. No, but Nick Gage. I am so happy that he's gotten over. He has a following, and him and Dark Side of the Ring, they're the ones really responsible for this huge boom in GCW with them, and obviously all these crossovers with AEW and all that. But Dark Side of the Ring really changed that man's life for the better.
It really did, man. For the better, it definitely did. Like, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, man. I mean, like honestly,
could it? It could happen to a few nicer guys.
True.
Granted, I don't know Nick. Look, Nick Gage again. Please don't hurt me. I'm a fan. These are jokes. Please don't hurt me. Please.
You know what? An interesting interview would be to have Nick Gage. That'd be an interesting interview.
I will reach out on Twitter. Hopefully, I don't get maimed, but we will see what happens. Nick, I'm not letting him cut me. That's not happening. I'm not letting him cut me. Hell no. Like, you know how like people like there's some people who are like, they want Jerry Lawler to cut him because they're like, oh, I want to get crowned by the king. No, I'm the opposite. No, don't. No, I'm Socially distance.
He can headbutt me. That's about
Nope,
it.
nope, nope, no. I don't want any physical. No, Nick Gage scares me. Anyway, Trevor, I believe you have some GCW news as well.
I absolutely do, actually. It's pretty much kind of, well, not the same thing exactly, but it actually comes before the sellout of Hammerstein Ballroom. So Matt Cardona was on a Wrestling Inc. daily podcast where he reflected on when GCW fans threw sharp objects at him, one being a pizza cutter. He mentioned that he loved it in the moment, absolutely loved it. It was great. It wasn't until after that fact that he realized that it was pizza cutters and not like bottles and things like that. Cardona continued, what would have happened if a pizza cutter sliced me? There's no real medical personnel backstage. He went on to say, I was covered in cuts, lacerations, and the nurse that they did have, like, pretty much stitched him up like just like a wound victim. And she told him that the stitches were dissolved. That led to infection. He also still is to this day is finding pieces of glass in his back. There was also reported like a week ago, he went and did a full body massage, and the lady was massaging him and massaged pieces of glass out of his back because he had the cup treatment, and it was covering his back, and there was pieces of glass coming out of his back. With all that being said, recently GCW owner Brett Lauderdale publicly discouraged fans from throwing sharp items in the ring. Cardona, of course, gave his own brand of wonderful thoughts on the statement. Quote, no shit. No fucking shit. Right. I'm glad he is trying to let the GCW universe know to calm down and relax. Enjoy the show. Boo me, call me names, post nasty tweets, but do not throw pizza cutters or any other sharp objects at me, my fiance, or any other wrestlers. So, Omar, with that being said, like, what's your take on what Matt Cardona said? Like, and do you think this is something that needs to be taken care of, or it could get worse in the future?
I mean, it goes. Look, first of all, I'm someone who. Okay. I want to be clear about this. Harmless. It is. I think it's fairly harmless. And I think a lot of wrestlers would agree. Generally,
right?
Throwing paper balls, throwing plastic cups and things like that into the ring, fairly harmless. Like I think that's pretty much fair game.
Right.
Throwing anything like a beer can, pizza, fuck pizza cutters. I'm talking about beer cans, but man, pizza,
right?
That's crazy. Look, that's insane. No, don't do it. Just like we were talking about with the fan, don't jump the railing at a show. Don't do this either. Do not throw pizza cutters. Who brings a pizza cutter to a wrestling show? What kind of sick maniacs do that? Well, these maniacs do. Hit like, share, and subscribe. But my God, dude, this is just. You shouldn't have to tell people not to bring pizza cutters, but apparently at the GCW show, you have to tell people. And again, I feel like Jim Cornette. You have to tell people not to bring the damn pizza cutters.
I mean, yeah.
Look, I just want to have a quick aside. I understand, what's this guy's name? Brett Lauderdale.
Brett Lauderdale, yeah.
Brett Lauderdale. I appreciate his concern about fans throwing stuff in the ring. I really do. And I think he's right for addressing that. But I think Brett could also be better served actually having real medical staff backstage to treat his wrestlers. If you're running any wrestling promotion or any wrestling show, let alone a one as violent and extreme as GCW, where almost every match there's going to be blood and sharp objects and glass involved. You would think, Trevor, at least at a show where there's going to be blood involved, you would have some real professional doctor, a doctor on standby. Someone at one of these shows, I know it wasn't GCW, it was CZW, but still at a very similar, basically, GCW grew out of CZW. There was Nick Gage. This guy literally died for 7 minutes because they didn't have a doctor on. Well, one, they didn't have a doctor on set. Also, he got an artery cut, which again, I don't know. But look, Brett, I appreciate your concern, my G. But you really want to help someone out, help prevent the next Matt Cardona with all this glass finding that he's doing. Get a doctor backstage, a real doctor. You're selling out arenas like that right now in Manhattan, in good markets. You can afford to finally get a real doctor backstage. You know, the nurse is fine. Right. But I don't know about this nurse, whether he or she, what they did. I don't know how qualified they were, but get a real doctor backstage to help treat your wrestlers, who are the ones that are making your ass money, Brett.
Yeah.
Help your wrestlers. I mean, like you're making, like, they're taking on the bumps. You're just sitting back there like, I'm counting my money.
Right, at this point, yeah. Like, I mean, I get that what you come from, right? I get that you come from a small promotion, but now you're bigger, right? And say what you will about DJ Hyde, and I say a lot, but it's like when what happened to Nick Gage happened, though, the ambulance and everything were there, or like that, like it lickety split. You know what I mean? And they did have some medical staff there. They didn't have like the doctors and like they do at like WWE, like that, but they did have some medical staff there. And the ambulance, the airplane came in, picked them up quick. But like, and of course, you can sometimes take what Matt Cardona says with a grain of salt sometimes, because he does the loud, voiceless persona that he has now is somewhat not believable, but
I don't know, man. I feel like
I'm not gonna sit here and say the man's lying.
I'd be mad too if I'm finding glass like
months later. I'm not gonna sit here and say the man's lying
Trevor.
about that.
Months ago.
That was in June.
It was this show. We covered it. It was literally we were on our old graphics then.
Yeah, that was in June. That was definitely in June, July, and like he's in weeks prior to that. Like actually last week, he just mentioned he got more glass out of him. Like, if you look at him, look at Matt Cardona in that picture. That shirt is blood red. It's not blood red because that's the color scheme he chose. That's because he's fucking bleeding. That's his blood. That is him. That is him and Nick Gage's blood all entwined. Like, it. Don't get me wrong. You have a product that apparently works. Great. Amazing. I'm not sitting here downing it because I have watched this product. But you have more high-profile wrestlers. You have more talent coming to these shows. You have people wanting to watch your product. The least you can do, and Brett, I don't want you to think that I don't like you or anything like that, because that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is get better medical staff.
You can afford
it. You can afford it now.
And if you can't, and if you can't afford it, maybe you're punching above your waist, my G. Maybe you're punching, like, you know maybe you got to tone it down a bit. Maybe you got to, I don't know. Maybe I just, you got to protect. And I don't think
it's too much to ask that people know.
That people get stitched up properly. It's not too much to ask. Dude, what kind of world? This isn't the 1980s. Tape it up and let's go, pal. This is 2021, bro. Like, no.
And in the defense of Brett Lardell, I will say this. You do have to tell people not to bring stuff like that or throw stuff like that, because CCW had a particular match called Bring Your Own Weapon.
That's
where these people would bring these concoctions that they made. Like I've said once before, because it's the most preposterous thing I've ever seen in my life. They stuck a saw blade in a plastic baseball bat. That it
whoa, wait. Say that one more time. What?
So you know one of those old wiffle ball bats? Yeah. They took a rotary saw blade and stuck it in that baseball bat, brought it to the show, and one of the wrestlers grabbed it and used
it. These ingenious fucks, I swear. This is... How do you...
So that is something that
they
needs to be said.
significantly more creative than anything WWE is doing right now.
True.
Oh, wow. Anything else from GCW?
Nah, man. Other than that, like Lauderdale, I am a fan of ultraviolet wrestling. I am. Just take care of your wrestlers. That's all I ask.
So yeah, that's been our GCW coverage for the year. See you next year. Although next year's like 3 months.
Ballroom.
Oh, speaking of shows though, guess where AEW is coming back?
DC, but it's not going to the
they're running the Mystics Arena. They're it's like,
I actually have not been there. Actually,
it's you know why? Because it's in the Southeast.
True.
Even us Northeast boys, we know. Oh, don't mess
You have
us
a
up.
point there.
Hey, bro, we're Ubering there together. We're Ubering there together.
Hell yeah. You want to hold hands?
I'm not going there alone. Actually, hold on. Are the tickets go on sale for that show yet?
I don't know. I was going to ask you that. I was going to
Well, let's head over right now to AEWTIX.com to see. Well, no, you know what's insane though? They're doing both Rampage and Dynamite there, both
Yeah,
live.
I saw that. Yeah.
So it's going to be on Friday and Wednesday, which I think is dope. But
That's awesome.
these pricks are going to make me pay money to see both. I was kind of looking forward to a double taping because I was like, oh, there we go.
It's going to be great. And I was like, I'm going to spend money.
I have to spend double the money.
Damn it.
Let's see. Okay, so tickets don't go on sale till Friday, apparently.
Oh, this Friday? Okay.
Oh, dude, that's a good market, though. I might have to. We'll talk offline about these tickets.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I want to see this. This is. I want to go to AEW.
I haven't been to AEW since
Since last time they were in DC.
The first one. Very first one. Number one, baby.
Number one, AEW. Man, Man, you could tarp off half the Capital One Arena. Come on, just.
I don't know why they're not doing it back at Capital One. Honestly,
I don't know.
Oh well.
Ryan Woodridge in the chat asks, "Hi, bro. Is Roman's contract coming up soon?" Nope. He actually re-signed recently. He's like a 5-year contract. That dude is locked and loaded, ready to go. He is in there for the long haul. Ryan Woodridge asks, Omar, will WWE get rid of more wrestlers in January? Either January or early February is when their investor call is, and if I had to bet on it, I'd probably say yes. It's most definitely going to happen, actually.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen sooner or later.
Speaking of what things are going to happen, we talked about earlier, Big Swole leaving AEW.
Yeah.
Her contract is running out, I believe, soon. A lot of AEW contracts are running out. This is like the 3-year mark from the January. Actually, no. So a lot of people signed in like January, like as the company was getting going in 2019. The 3-year mark is coming up in this January, and So basically, around over the next few months, we're gonna see some people depart. Big Swole is the first one. She put out a statement about that, and it was a very heartfelt statement. She apparently talked to Tony Khan, and I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a surprise, that Ngozi hasn't been on television.
No,
hasn't really even been on Dark.
She was hurt for a while, and I think she also has something else going on. I'm not sure what, and I'm not gonna speculate, but
it's to be expected. Like not the only one. There's gonna be multiple people. Sonny Kiss, they're gonna be let go. Joey Janela is going to be not let go. They're probably gonna let Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss's contracts let go. Like those are the two big ones.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've said this. I don't know if Marco Stunt, what his contract situation is going to be.
I haven't seen Marco Stunt on TV in months.
I mean, I think he wasn't on TV last week, which I don't know, man. Could be a sign, but
I mean, he's also been performing in indies too. He has a strict indie schedule,
which is fine, right? And here's the thing, I want to be very clear about this. There's a vast difference from AEW not re-signing people and WWE cutting people.
Oh, absolutely.
Huge difference. The situation at WWE was, first of all, okay, let's not equate the two. Cutting people and letting people's contract run out, two completely different things. All right?
Yeah.
Absolutely different things. Cutting is you are calling an end to the contract before it is up. When you let a contract expire, they've been paid the full money that they were able to make on that contract. They spent the entire time of that contract, and they were not let go. That is an agreement being fulfilled to the end.
Right.
Just because you sign a contract does not mean you automatically get renewed every time. And people know that. Getting fired is something completely different. And AEW and Tony Khan were lucky enough, and a lot of the wrestlers were lucky enough to be in a situation where during the pandemic, they didn't have to fire anyone for pandemic or budget-related reasons. They didn't. They probably could have and saved some money. They didn't, though. Instead, they hired more people. They did let go of some people like Jimmy Havoc for disciplinary reasons. They let go of I forgot who it was, another wrestler, because she asked for her release. So two completely different. Those are completely different situations than getting fired. All right, and it was going to happen. AEW has a roster bubble that is it's getting crowded in there, and I don't know. I heard this argument online from people saying the worst thing AEW did was hire all these people in the beginning from the indies and blah blah blah. And I'm like, and like that's what's led to all these people getting buried and all these people not being on TV. I'm like, okay, yeah. In retrospect, yeah, Joey Janela probably. Joey Janela was not on TV as much as he probably should have been. He could have been on TV more. In retrospect, he probably could have spent that time elsewhere, actually wrestling and doing better, right? But in hindsight, you can see everything in hindsight. And the other thing is, to say that AEW made a mistake by signing all these indie guys in the beginning, completely ignorant of the fact of where AEW was in the beginning. They didn't know CM Punk was going to come. There's no guarantee CM Punk was going to come back.
There was no guarantee.
No guarantee Bryan Danielson was going to be a free agent. No guarantee that the deal with New Japan was going to happen. No guarantee that Bobby Fish and all these people that WWE were going to cut, basically Miro, all these people. There was no guarantee of that. All that was guaranteed was they had Chris Jericho, they had the Elite, and they had the clout coming out of All In.
Yep.
They needed bodies. They needed people. They needed a roster. You're building a wrestling company. You gotta have a roster. That included at the time. I'm sure there was a plan for Sonny Kiss. I'm sure there was a plan for Joey Janela. I'm sure there was a plan for Big Swole. Unfortunately, sometimes plans change.
Yep.
And that is, and I think if anyone in the AEW situation, I don't think they would have done anything too differently. No. And I was speaking to someone who's a fan of Joey Janela, who thinks Sonny Kiss. So another big thing, I think Sonny Kiss should have been used much more. I'm like, Sonny Kiss is a very talented pro wrestler. Wherever Sonny Kiss goes, gonna be amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the best things about AEW, and I've said this before, they just got really lucky because the pieces fell where they needed them. Like, they had no idea John Moxley was gone. Had no idea. It just so happens his contract was up and he was ready to go somewhere, and they picked him up. Same thing with Rusev. Same thing with Adam Cole. Same thing with Ruby Soho. A lot of the people they picked, the pieces fell in great situations, and they were able to pick them up. Now, is it terrible that these guys, the contract release? I mean, it is, but it's better this way than it is them getting fired. I mean, there are still so many promotions that they can go to, because you got to also understand that these people are still indie wrestlers at the end of the day. They made their bread and butter on indies. Like, getting their face on TV was amazing, but they're still indies at the end of the day.
And I don't know, I don't want to be coming across, and I hope I'm not coming across as overly defensive of AEW, but my main thing was to compare this in any way to the releases that WWE has done. After recording record profits over the past 2 years, they've let go of almost 100 wrestlers for budget cuts.
You can't compare this at
You
all.
cannot compare these two at all. No. And again, one is you are completing the length of the contract. Okay? That is all they signed up for. That is all you signed up for. Anything that happens after that is to be worked out. Sometimes it can be worked out. Other times it cannot. And in this case, there's going to be a lot of them. I don't want to contemplate on any specific names, but I think there are going to be some that surprise people. I do think there are going to be some surprises of some people who don't get re-signed. I don't necessarily think anyone's going to be cut because Tony Khan's also said that he doesn't like releasing people, for anything other than like disciplinary reasons, because he genuinely thinks that that's not a good way to do business, which, again, people want to hate on that. Go ahead. The other thing I wanted to
re-signings too, though.
Yeah, there's gonna be like Jungle Boy, Cody, Kenny. They're gonna re-sign. I was gonna say something else. I had like one more soapbox to talk to talk about. It had to do with these like re-signing things. I don't know. Oh gosh, I don't know. Read some chats if you can, Trevor, and maybe I'll think
absolutely,
about it.
Brother. Let's see. Ryan Woodbridge in the chat. What did he say? Oh, hi, bro. Will we get rid of Bliss, Hardy, Owens, The Miz, Charlotte Flair? Will WWE get rid of them? Charlotte Flair, no, definitely not. I don't believe Alexa Bliss is going to
They better not willingly get rid of any of those people, or they're insane.
I mean, if they get rid of anybody, I could see probably Miz, maybe.
Oh my! He just came off of Dancing with the Stars.
But it's so. But there's
he's in a feud with Edge right now. No.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's right. He is in a feud with Edge. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you will know. Edge called that, like he referenced AEW on Raw in a promo. Oh, go back and watch it. Yeah,
I'll watch it. Yeah,
actually like that segment was actually it was definitely the best thing on Raw.
I'll check that one out.
Oh, God, what was I gonna say about the? We'll get to the questions, Ryan. Don't worry. I had something very important I wanted to say, and it just slipped my mind. If it doesn't show up in like the next 60 seconds, I'm gonna we're just gonna read the chats and go out. But it had to do with the releases, or not the releases. It had to do with AEW, and their contracts. Like there's gonna be some people who are gonna be extended. There's going to be some people who are gonna be not extended, and that's just the way things fall sometimes. And this was it. This was the last thing I wanted to say about the contract situation. If you are mad about AEW letting these contracts run out, right? If you're mad about this, and you're not, and okay, if you're mad about that, fine. I never want to hear you complain ever about WWE signing people to just sit around in catering and do nothing. Because that's what, if Tony Khan re-signs Joey Janela, he's hindering Joey Janela's ability to go be a star, because right now there's just not a place. Like, I'm going to be quite frank. There's just not a place where Joey Janela as himself fits in, and I doubt Joey Janela wants to change a character. Like Joey Janela is Joey Janela. He could go somewhere else and use the name recognition that he has from AEW and be a renegade, be the guy who wasn't used in AEW.
Right.
And he could make a lot of money doing that. GCW is getting hot at the right time for Mr. Janela.
That's kind of his brand of wrestling too.
There's a pay-per-view at the end of January in Manhattan for GCW. Could Joey Janela show up? It would make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, MLW is getting hot. Joey Janela. I mean, these are names.
Sonny Kiss. Oh my goodness! Whoever signed Sonny Kiss is gonna get so much talent.
Oh my God! Indie champion on the Indies. It's amazing wrestler.
Yeah. More questions from Ryan Woodridge before we head out. Could Darby Allin also get
No.
Tony, Tony, he's not gonna let Darby Allin go. You can't let Darby Allin go. He would. He's an AEW guy.
No.
Here's the thing. There's not many people in It's weird because there's not really many people in AEW I could see going to WWE. But again, we don't know what's gonna happen 3-4 years from now. We don't know. MJF, I could totally see him going to WWE. I could 100% see MJF going to WWE.
And clean it up too. Clean it up.
Oh my goodness! Dude, you don't think WWE is going to try to outbid AEW for MJF?
He said he wouldn't. He mentioned something about
it's
WWE
not, dude. It's not a work. It's not a work. MJF will 100% start a bidding war in pro wrestling. It's not a work. That is just abject fact. What else? I mean, like, I could see, this is gonna be a bit of a weird one. I could see Sammy Guevara eventually going to WWE.
That's not weird to me.
That's
not weird. He has a he's
got charisma. He's got charisma.
He has
got the
Eddie
ability in the
Guerrero
ring.
Air about him, you know. And I could see him going to a place like that. I think he fit well in
Wardlow.
WWE.
Wardlow.
Yeah.
Bootleg Reigns. Have him. Nick Camarado could go back. I think there's definitely people. We'll do a segment on this next week. Actually, I think we should do a fleshed out segment. We'll do that next week.
We'll do this.
Final few chats here. Ryan asks, "Is Ric Flair mad with WWE?" Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's pissed. He's pissed. We covered this last week actually. So but he's pretty mad. 202 Degrees asks, could Liv Morgan possibly win the Raw Women's Belt next week to face Bayley at Day 1? Bayley's injured. I think you mean Becky.
Becky.
Yeah, you definitely mean Becky because she's the Raw Women's Champion. I think they already signed a contract, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah, I think they did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they already signed the contract. For Day 1. It's gonna be Becky versus Bayley, or Becky versus Bayley. It's gonna be Becky versus Liv Morgan. Hey, what do you think about the line though that Liv Morgan used on Becky? Becky.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear about this?
I did. I didn't get a chance to see that part.
It was actually pretty bad. It was it's like, you're fat. She said, quote, like something along the lines of, to Becky, she said, your fat contract is the reason that my friends aren't here anymore. And I was just like, first of all, that's just wrong. That's just untrue. First of all, this is inaccurate.
It's not true at all.
Secondly,
mean for no reason.
What WWE writer thought that would be a good PR move to mention the releases on air and to tie them to anything but the company? It was different when CM Punk did it. Like, CM Punk did a similar thing with Triple H and John Laurinaitis when he said, remember, like, he cut up, like, we went off script and he told Johnny Ace, he said, it was something along the lines of like, oh yeah, he said he was actually talking to Triple H. He said, Triple H, did you fire did you fire Chris Masters and all these guys, or did you have Johnny Ace do it for you?
Yeah.
It's completely different because that's pointing the finger at the company, which everyone knows did it. Instead of trying to get heat on Becky for something that everyone knows WWE did when they didn't need to.
That's crazy.
Bad.
The rest of these chats. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's go through these last few chats. MJF wouldn't. 202 Degrees says MJF would never head to WWE. Clearly, always troll, just like Tony, to put him on better feuds. Dude, if the money's right, the money's right.
Yeah, exactly.
If WWE will offer that, like, there's a few people I think WWE would offer a boatload of money to. MJF is at the top of that list from AEW. Like, they will offer him enough money to have him at least contemplate life in WWE. Sammy Guevara is going to be in Impact Wrestling or New Japan. He already was in Impact Wrestling. Yeah, he did a crossover. He did a great job in Impact. That's actually where I first saw him wrestle.
Yeah. I saw him in the 80s.
Ryan asks, could Elias be in the next cut? I mean, I don't like this. I don't like to speculate on these things like specific people, but he would be on that list. Everything Liv Morgan said was true. She was mentioning Nigel. I mean, no, it was. I mean, no, it was true that they got cut. It just wasn't true that it was Becky's contract that did it.
Yeah, that's the only part that wasn't true.
It was the fact that WWE wants to inflate their stock price and they're greedy. That's why it happened. And I'm sure now I will never get a WWE press pass.
I don't think we're getting one in the first place.
Ryan asked a very good question. Where is Val Venus now? I will Google this while you read the last two chats there.
Right. 20 degrees. Is the money right to be like Ricochet?
Yeah, here's the thing. We joke about this, but right. MJF is a smart dude.
Oh yeah, he's very smart. Yeah.
He will have I promise you, if he does sign with WWE, he'll have certain like guarantees in his contract, and he'll be worth it because WWE will know that he's worth. Like, I know it seems like it's not gonna work. There's going to be a substantial enough offer from WWE eventually to make MJF contemplate it. I promise you, unless Tony Khan,
if that's the way he goes.
Unless Tony Khan literally just throws him the bank, and signs it and tries to lock him down, I think it would be smart for MJF monetarily. Because look, at the end of the day, we can talk about creative freedom and all that stuff. MJF is 25 years old. It's simple.
Very young career.
It's simple for CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, all these other people to talk about creative freedom and the lack thereof in WWE and all that stuff and being restricted, whatever, right? It's very easy for them to talk about it after they've had that first WWE big time contract, right? It's very easy when you've already made a substantial enough amount of money where now you want to get more creative. It's very easy to say that.
Right.
MJF is still a young guy. I believe I think he re-signed recently for a little bit more money, but he's 25 years old. If there's a chance for him to make a substantial amount of money, I'm talking millions of dollars, he'll at least entertain the offer. I'm not saying AEW won't match, but I think there's going to be an offer. I think he's going to think about it. That's not a crazy thing to think. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. But anyway, you know what else is a spoiler? You guys hitting that like button, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Real Take Wrestle Talk on Tuesdays, Real Take Sports Talk on Wednesdays, live here on the YouTube channel, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that jazz. Follow us on Twitter at Real Take Sports. Keep the conversation going on Instagram and Facebook at Real Take Sports Talk. Patreon.com/Real Take Sports. And again, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review. Trevor, parting thoughts.
Man, this was fun. This was fun as always. See you guys next week. Watch some wrestling. Watch some good stuff. Take a look at some old stuff too. Some of the matches we mentioned. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go back and watch some of it. See if you can find some of Sammy Guevara's indie stuff. See if you can watch Dan Housing before he was Dan Housing. Dan Housing and Johnny Gargano, I mentioned earlier. Great match. Try to see if you can find it. Definitely.
You want to see a great match? Joey Janela's house. I think it was Joey Janela's house party 2019 WrestleMania weekend. The Invisible Man versus the Invisible Stan.
It was
two invisible wrestlers wrestling each other while Bryce Remsburg put on special goggles to watch to see
the greatest thing ever.
The Invisible Man versus the Invisible Stan. Google it, kids. Until next time, keep it real.